Hello, everyone. This story is brought to you from Laura. I too, I'm from New Jersey too, and I still live here for now. I love your YouTube videos. They've helped me so much. My mother is a narcissist, and my grandparents seem to be too. I have a toddler, and I'm expecting a second, and I just don't feel cut out for children. And I'm scared that I'll end up raising them like I was raised. I was planning on doing adoption with them. I'm 21 and married, but my husband is living in his car while I'm stuck with my family. They don't know about my pregnancy. My family has thrown me out before and not allowed me to take my toddler with me and threatened to call DYFUS and police if I tried to get him. It lasted 3 days, all because I stayed in my room with him a few hours to avoid them, and my grandpa broke the door down. When I moved out last year, my mom had the police looking for me and filed for custody to take my son away, and had tons of people messaging me saying I was hurting her and she wants visits. I went to police and told them I left from being in danger from her, but she had already been there, and they went behind my back and called her to come get me, so my husband and I had to run out of the station and leave. Why? You're an adult. If you're 21 years old, the police have no business calling your parents to come get you. That's against your constitutional rights for them to do it. You could sue them for that as well. That My family tells me that I'm a failure as a woman and my mother to do adoption, and that I just need some antidepressants. I feel so guilty to give them up, but I'm chronically ill and I love them, and I also want them to have a good life, and for myself to focus on my health and get better. But anything that benefits me in any way, I feel I shouldn't do because it's wrong. Please help. I'm due next month and I don't know what to do. My mom acts like her son and my son is hers. She always has. My family controls how I raise him. The only things I fought for with him was to keep his body intact and not baptize him, to breastfeed him for 2 years. My toddler's biological father, who isn't my husband, sexually assaulted me multiple times, and they don't care and feel sorry for him for me leaving him. I wanted adoption with my toddler ever since the beginning, but they told me it wasn't allowed and that I shouldn't have gotten pregnant in the first place. I have PTSD from a bladder illness and past birth defects with my kidneys that would prevent me from being able to be there for my sons for potty training and anything medical, and I don't want them to have that burden. My grandma keeps getting drunk and sobbing to everyone that I'm destroying her life for doing adoption and breaking the bloodline, and that I'm the reason she's on meds. Wow. Um, this is tough, but you have to understand that first of all, your parents are the reason why that you got put in a position to end up with a guy who sexually assaulted you multiple times, get you pregnant, and then your parents take his side. It again, it's a playbook. It doesn't matter what kind of abuse you suffered at the hands of someone else. To the narcissist, the abuser's to be pitied, and you are to be blamed. It doesn't matter to them because they actually like to see you get abused. It gives them power. It weakens you. Anything that weakens you, whether they do it to you or somebody else does it to you, it puts them at the advantage to abuse you. I don't know what the story is with your current husband. He's living in a car. You're stuck with your parents. Again, I mean, your family is just Tara, why would your grandfather break down the door because you're in the bedroom with your own son? That is an ultimate type of control, that nothing is yours, not your personal space, not your room, not your child, not your body, nothing, nothing. And it's all about control. I am wondering why. Because normally when police get involved in stuff like this, like the domestic, they don't take one side or the other, especially when the one person is an adult. So to call an adult's parents to come pick them up when you're going to the police saying you're being harassed is mind-boggling to me, unless there's some kind of protective order or something that gives them the authority to do that. Which, of course, I mean, I don't know if there is, but you didn't mention it. You didn't mention it. As much as I'd like to tell you that, you know, you should stick in with your children and raise them. If you're not physically and mentally capable of doing it, if you're in a position where you're damaging yourself, and it's what's going to ultimately damage your children, because they're going to do the same thing to your children that they did to you, your parents. So it's not a good sin. Even if you walked away and left your children with your parents, it doesn't help your children. So, you know, that's what adoption is supposed to be for. If you can't physically take care of your children for whatever reason may be, and you love them and you want to see them have a better life, that's what adoption's meant for. And your family is clearly not equipped to deal with it because they're just going to do to your children what they did to you. You can't let the flying monkeys and the enablers or saying you're killing your mother, you're doing this or that to your family. They're just as full of shit as your parents are. You cannot let them get into your head. If you truly love your children, and I think you do, and you're already thinking of adoption because you can't, then I think that's probably the road you need to go down. But ultimately, that's your decision to make. Regardless of whatever decision you make, though, you cannot continue to keep these people in your life. Now, I don't know the extent of your medical issues. I don't know what your job prospects are, how self-sufficient it's even possible for you to be, but you got to figure out a way to get these people out of your life. And because if you don't get better, your children certainly are never going to have a chance. And if you do make the decision to adopt, I will say this: once that decision is made, it should be final. It can't be, you know, your children hypothetically get adopted, and then a couple of years down the road you change your mind, and then you want to go back, and then that is so unfair to do to the adoptive parent. It's so unfair to do to your child at that point because it's really going to be confusing and it's really hurtful. So I would advise you before you make that decision, and if you do go that route, to make sure the decision's final, because you're going to destroy a lot more lives if you do end up adopting and then go back on it later. Now, that's not to say your children won't want you in your life eventually. Most adoptive children do. You know, I would, if you're able to have contact with whoever the adopted people would be, or the agency, or however it happens, I would make one of the conditions of the adoption, probably one of your only condition, is that the children understand that they were adopted, that there's not going to be some hiding of the adoption from the children, years later finding out that the children were adopted. That way the children will not have like this weird feeling of if and when they do find out years down the road. And, you know, the parent, you know, whoever hypothetically would adopt, they need to understand from either you or whoever the adoption agent is who's doing this, that you're giving up your children because you love them, because you want them to have a good life, that you're not some drug addict, you're not having your kids taken away from you, but you know that you need to get better and you want somebody to see your children be successful and advance and not be abused. And that if it ever comes to the day that your children want to see you, that they would allow that to happen, that they wouldn't try to discourage that. And that's what I would do if you went down that road. Because for a grandmother to be getting drunk, the grandfather to be kicking in doors, and that's no place for children. And that doesn't get better. It only gets worse. So thank you for your story. I really hope this gets better for you. You know, you're a young girl, you're 21, you got a lot of life to live ahead of you. But you're not going to get better around these people. So you need to do what you need to do to get away from them. Okay? You and your husband, and you need to figure this out. If there's a way to do it where you feel you can raise your children and be successful and heal, then do it. But if in your heart of hearts you know that can't happen, then adoption might be your best option. Okay? But remember what I said. If you do go that route, how to handle it. Okay? Because you still do got time. You got, you know, you're a young girl, and I understand the frustration. I really do. And this isn't a decision to be taken lightly, obviously. And I wish you luck. I do. And if you need any follow up, you know how to get a hold of me. So thank you again for sharing. I hope this helps. Thank you everybody else for watching. Any comments, please leave in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story on the channel, PayPal links in the description box. You guys know what to do. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all again soon. Bye.